Ugh. Ugh. My head hurts. Oh, well, hello there. Didn't notice you there at first. Anyways, skip to, I'd say, maybe 30 seconds later after this point, or maybe like a minute later if you want to skip the intro. If not, then stay here. Anywho, it's been about 3 weeks since I last posted, and a month since I've made the promise of making a revamped version of Destroyah and Gigan's documentary. So here it is, because why the fuck not? Also because I finally had the motivation to make a video. Also, the next couple videos I'll be doing will most likely either be a mix between Dagon and Friends, the Wrath of Blood series, and documentaries. Because why not? Also, personal updates for why I haven't been uploading. Number one is obvious. It's 4th of July and too many fireworks going off. Hardly got any sleep because I already struggle to going to sleep because I am naturally a nighthawk, staying up 24/7 usually. And the fireworks just made it worse. Number two, revamps to my room, whether it is purposeful or not. Those being my closet door accidentally falling off, and the Zeus is now permanently visible. Number two, new shelf to host the critters. So yeah, big news. And to celebrate, at least, me returning after 3 weeks, and also because I want to get something out, and to celebrate all like the revamps, we're finally doing Destroyah and Gigan's documentary. Speaking of Destroyah and Gigan, where the fuck are they? Pretty sure I released them like 5 seconds ago from their prisons. I mean, Destroyah should be here by now. It's just I don't know where... There they are. Spoke too soon. Meet the Dagon Show's version of Gigan. This Gigan is proof that all creatures in the Hollow Earth don't just need very powerful weaponry in order to be successful. This guy used to be one of Dagon's most toughest rivals back in the day when he was still free. Because Dagon was slow, bulky, and really powerful back then, whilst this guy was fast, cunning, and sharp, whilst Dagon was more blunt and bulky. And also because he was able to fly, so he was able to get out of reach of Dagon's laser beam. Gigan in the Hollow Earth is proof that you don't just need power to be successful. Because brute strength is not one of Gigan's most interesting feats. No, it's rather speed. You see, he has a very lightweight build, and that is proof of why he is able to fly. When he is on the ground, these flaps on his back are actually usually upright, whilst when he is flying, they splay out to give him some sort of parachute type of like parachute or kite type of gliding capabilities, and will close up immediately when he lands. He has a hot plasma-like death ray that he uses to cut things in half. Also, one of the major problems with him being lightweight is that he trips. Like a lot. That's also due to him having one single toe claw instead of multiple to try and keep a sturdy grip on the ground while standing. So he usually resorts to sitting in order to not fall. It's very hard for him. Gigan's signature color is green, obviously. At least for my version, he is 99% green, besides his yellow beak, his white horn, and his red eye. Oh yeah, and the whiteness on the tip of his tail to form a hook and his toes. Oh yeah, and his sickle claws. When it comes to my Gigan, well, the Gigan for my canon, instead of having simple arms, spread out more like other monsters like this, instead, I got inspired by a very interesting insect. Fuck! Sorry for that language. I got a bit frustrated because he wouldn't stand. I got inspired by a very interesting little insect. You see, his arms are based off of an insect called the praying mantis, where they have their arms curled up like this because they're just way too fucking long. Also because they want to keep them sharp, I think. So yeah. Now it's time to move on to Gigan's capabilities, feats, and other things. His lore. Meow. Meow. Alright. Let me make this clear. Gigan's lore is a bit awkward. Well, actually, not really. I just want to say that because why not? It sounds good for a video. Anyways, so, Gigan. What does he have for us in terms of lore? Well, a long, long time ago in the Hollow Earth, when everything was severely primitive, aliens from God knows where just kind of dropped him in and gave him one goal back then, before his AI made him extra sentient: to kill every form of life. He himself was pretty good at this job. But eventually, after falling in water, because again, he can't stand well, his circuit boards got fried and his AI went through the roof, giving him severe intelligence and self-awareness of his surroundings. Noticing how dangerous the Hollow Earth is, his AI made him very weary of his surroundings, specifically the surface, who is currently being terrorized by a currently mind-controlled Monster Zero, also known as Ghidorah, the one with 3 heads. So, he went into hibernation, scrambling his ass under rocks quickly to avoid any further harm to his body. Thousands of years later, he busts out and senses a new thing that has strong power. And because of his old motive to kill all life forms and him wanting to prove himself that he still has, good capabilities, he decided to go hunt this thing down. This thing he was hunting was Dagon's cousin, Godzilla. After being confronted by the very giant Gigan in our canon, like, geez, he is tall, but that's usually the scale with Dagon, Godzilla immediately, being the bold bastard he is, did not care about the size gap. Besides, he fought Shimu and Ghidorah before, which were also bigger than him. What is this slim-ass space chicken gonna do? Quite a lot. This isn't an accurate description of their fight, it's just summed up very quickly to get to the point. Because of Godzilla's humbling defeat, he did a call to let Dagon know something's fucked up around here. So Dagon and Godzilla, and Gigan, all fought one another in a totally awesome, epic battle. With the power of two mighty beings of the Hollow Earth against a measly cyborg, Gigan stood no chance. Godzilla, still being pissed about his defeat, suggested to Dagon to kill Gigan. Dagon, following the strict rules given by his ancestors, told the younger Godzilla, "He who kills their enemies is one of pride. He who imprisons them and tries to turn them good are the ones who are truly wise." So instead of murdering Gigan that day, they imprisoned him. But because of his AI, also, by the way, they imprisoned him in a similar area where Bloodborne was before Bloodborne became a major thing, and then he was moved to the iceberg. But because of the major problem of Gigan's AI, Dagon and Godzilla knew damn well there was no trying to, fix him. Ghidorah was too far gone, and Shimu was mind-controlled, so Shimu was freed, Ghidorah was slain due to his too far goneness, and Gigan just had a growing AI, so he needs to learn. Even though Gigan was imprisoned, he appreciated Dagon for not murdering him. That still doesn't mean he doesn't want to kill him, though. He just has more moral values towards Dagon. And if they did fight and Dagon was losing, Gigan would probably give Dagon the same treatment of imprisonment instead of murder, whilst everyone else will suffer the murder half, because of Dagon's, being merciful to Gigan, instead of just flat out murdering him right where he stood. Moving on to likes and dislikes. This is probably going to be really quick. He hates food because he can't eat it properly without frying his circuits. He does like motor oil and jet fuel for some fucking reason. He hates the fact that he can't enjoy beer, but battery acid, similar to another game character from something my friend recently got into, also works as a replacement to smalcohol. Gigan doesn't really like the other villains. He just kind of goes along with it because he's programmed to, not because he wants to. After the events of which he is free, he's neutral with Mario because he's freed him, but he's not a fan of his actions. Like, he knows he could be serious because Dagon told him about it, but he just hasn't seen it, so he doesn't believe it. Dagon is kinda comforting to Gigan, but Gigan doesn't really care, so he doesn't really like it that much. Gigan also knows of the existence of multiple Dagon variants, the specific ones being Helldiver Dagon, Crystal Dagon, also known as Space Dagon, basically my version of Space Goji, and Mecha Dagon, being my version of Mecha Godzilla. He is fine with Mechagodzilla. He is fine with Crystal. He is afraid of Helldiver Dagon because of his sheer power, being a lot more stronger than Dagon, but weaker than Mario A. Of course, Gigan does have a healthy fear of Mario due to his power, but he doesn't really show it or care because of Mario's silliness most of the time. But when he is pissed off, then he is afraid. Helldiver is always pissed off, so he's naturally afraid. And rightfully so. Even though he cannot eat food, he really, really likes graham crackers. Not to eat, but because he just likes to munch on them because of the crunch. It's satisfying to him. He'd also do the same to other things that have a satisfying crunch. Those being bones, metal, sticks, and anything else that does a satisfying crunch, including ice, because he cannot taste or feel jack shit. Again, 90% of him is robot, 10% of him is flesh. So naturally he cannot taste without frying his circuits. Gigan is neutral with everyone in the Hollow Earth. On the surface, it varies a bit. The Bowser group, he doesn't even know of their existence and could quite frankly give less of two shits. The Yoshis, he knows of only one, that is White Yoshi, due to his therapy sessions that White Yoshi gives to the other surviving villains that Dagon wants rehabilitated to be at least slightly better than they already are, and not inherent assholes because they do not need more of Buckshot. One psychopath is enough. Although not be it in his program, Gigan really hates the idea of work and jobs and bosses. Because in all honesty, most of the ones he knows of, those being Dagon being his boss technically, because if he doesn't listen to Dagon, he'll die. The aliens who made him because of his fucked up programming, and Destroyah. Oh, and also Bloodborne, but Bloodborne to a lesser extent. He hates all the examples. Dagon, he's a bit more lenient to, but everyone else is like, fuck all. And although he's scared of him, he thinks that Helldiver Dagon is much better of a leader than normal present-day Dagon. Final category. Abilities. This one will be extremely, extremely quick. He could fly, he shoots lasers, he has sharp claws so he can do stabby stabs. He could technically stab you with his toe claws if he doesn't lose his balance while trying. He could hook you with his sharp tail and cut you in half or drop you from thousands of feet with it. Thousands of feet in the air, that is. His horn technically could be used as a weapon, but he doesn't really use it much because it's on his head, and his head is one of the most fragile parts of his body. So all those head dives in the ground I've been doing during these segment intros, yeah, hurts him a lot. His wings could also be used as knives, but it'll cause him turbulence and spiraling out of the sky like a maniac. So yeah, That's everything for Gigan. Moving on. The part I've been waiting to redo due to all of the flaws in it. Destroyah. Oh boy, Destroyah. We got a lot. Oh boy, we have a lot to yap about for Destroyah. Number one is obvious. He is one of the few figures I have that could stand on its own that is made out of pipe cleaners, unless if you touch him. Number one, lore. The first appearance of Destroyah was over 100 billion years ago, where he showed up in the Hollow Earth after merging from the thousands of crabs he was mutated from, which is why he has the hated nickname Crab Legs. Upon his arrival, his immediate reaction to the entire species of Gojira and also First Instinct was to slaughter as many of them as possible, killing hundreds, if not thousands. Quite frankly, this event, called the Rise of the Destroyer, killed off about 98% of all Gojira specimens, besides around 10,000. And those 10,000 left, well, not 10,000, more like 1,000 left, were all killed by Ghidorah around 1 billion years later. And the only two left are Godzilla and Dagon, and any other twisted variant of Dagon or Godzilla that managed to make it into the Hollow Earth via the portals to other realities. But the ones from the OG, like the OG Gojiras from the Hollow Earth, are all dead besides two. The originals, that is. The variants, all gone. Well, the variants don't really count, and the originals are all gone besides two. At least the ones native to the Hollow Earth. And you can't see it quite well. In this pose right here, he's about to give a heavy punch to this random Gojira's face. But the fight wasn't easy for Destroyah either, taking heavy damage from deadly laser beams, haymakers, haymaker punches, knuckle sandwiches, and multiple heavy hits from the opposing side. But the one factor that allowed him to succeed is the fact that he is like over 1,000,000-something organisms in one. So every loss of an organism, he'll just reform. It's like a twisted form of a hive mind. It is disgusting and horrible. But unfortunately for all, he was just way too powerful, taking out so many, leaving them extremely weak, dying, or already dead, leaving one standing in perfect condition. Dagon, the last Gojira specimen around the time that was in peak condition for fighting the Destroyer. And with all he had killed, their souls entered Dagon, giving him immense energy, tapping in to an energy surge Dagon never knew he had. For the first time ever, he became supercharged Thermo-Dagon, or just supercharged Dagon for short. But still, even with his newfound power, Dagon didn't find the fight any more easier. Well, kinda. Because of because of Destroyah's regeneration, it allowed him to survive hits that would normally, and definitely should have, killed him right where he stood. But eventually, his chest started to open, and Dagon's energy was getting weaker. At the time of his weak power, Dagon couldn't keep in this god-level form for long. Again, his thermo levels reach powers similar, but not exactly close to the multiverse god Mario A of Mario Universe. And because of that power surge, it starts to unstabilize reality a little, but only a little. Because of the power being so similar in signal to that of Mario, that the universe itself thinks there's two multiverse gods in the same area, making it incredibly, immensely unstable for Dagon, which makes him collapse from exhaustion after usage, until he was in his god form, which is his current form, when he ascended to godhood. And Dagon was starting to lose. But more and more of dead Gojira specimens kept on entering Dagon's body as souls, giving them their energy, most of which were already surpassing Dagon at the time. The battle would have been beautiful to witness in person due to the sheer array of colors. And because of how many souls and energy surges he was getting through his body, he became a new form. Hypercharged Dagon. He only achieved this form once. It was immensely bright, coming in as a mix of bright blues, dark blues, and purples. It was so unstable, it even surpassed Mario's power, and he is the multiverse god of this realm. It was so unstable that if Dagon stayed in this form for any longer, his body and the universe around him would implode with him, taking out everything, including himself. Thank the heavens he only achieved this form once. Even in his current form, he still wouldn't be able to handle the power that even Mario couldn't wield. 10,000, if not trillions, of dead Gojiras with the power equivalent of modern-day Dagon adding up and multiplying into one being causes immense unstableness within the host. And if Dagon ever wanted to reach this form in present day, the only way for him to achieve this again is if another mass murder of alternate universe Gojiras decided to enter his body, or if Mario gave him his power times 10. His roars echoed and sounded more guttural, as he couldn't even use his vocal cords correctly as they began to break down and melt inside of his own body. And for the first and only time in Destroyah's life, he felt true fear. And it wasn't just a normal thermonuclear. No, he was starting to reach temperatures unfathomable but not in high temperatures like heat. No, this was below zero in terms of temperature, as he gathered energy from the ice caps themselves as well. But not to say that it was hot as well, reaching temperatures similar to the core of the hottest star in the multiverse. Melted Destroyah's wings to the ground, and he couldn't escape. The wrath of Dagon was upon him, releasing an energy blast in the form of a condensed laser, so powerful that it shined the hollow earth for hundreds of billions of miles, to the point where it started to escape through the cracks in the surface of the planet, and even shining through cave entrances, to the point where you could see bright blue lights immensing from the planet itself. This is also what caught the eye of Ghidorah and what led him to the planet so long ago. And he wasn't going to come for a long time, but this is what started it as well. What also caught the attention of this light were other things. What other things? Well, I don't know now, because, quite frankly, I haven't built the lore beyond that point. But we'll eventually fill in the gaps in future uploads. Destroyah was frozen where he stood, but Dagon was still unstable, in a form he couldn't handle, nor the multiverse. Having a being powerful than its gatekeeper itself is not a good thing if you want the universe to stay stable. Dagon was about to collapse in on himself and implode. As if on cue, the souls that gave him his power left in order to let him live, and he collapsed out of pure exhaustion of losing so much energy at once. Eventually, over the course of multiple days, the energy lowered, became more stable. And I forgot to mention this around the start of that segment, but the original color of the Hollow Earth was actually more of I'd say a dull white, perhaps maybe a little bit orange at times. So the blue of the Hollow Earth was an unnatural color. And it was because of Dagon's hypercharged form. Its energy never truly going away, but stabilizing in order to stop the collapse of Dagon's world and himself. And the energy from, the excess energy from this went to Mario. So if Dagon did have a hyper evolution again, or a hypercharge form again, it would be more equivalent to Mario's current power level than excelling it. So the unstableness wouldn't truly happen. The universe itself would just think there's two Marios of the same power, back when another Mario existed in the same place. In the first time in months, Dagon rose, severely weakened, energy drained, and tired. He had just done something so powerful that the universe itself had to right itself just to make sure that it will never happen again, causing cataclysms across the galaxy. Also, one more thing about Dagon's hypercharged form. If it did happen in present day through the means I've suggested, well, there's two outcomes for Dagon's hypercharged. If it happened with the souls of other dead Godzillas, at least 10,000 of them to be safe, which would cause a hypercharge, it would be the equivalent of present-day Mario's power. But if it happened via Mario giving his power to Dagon tenfold, then it would exceed Mario to the point where it would break reality itself. Unless if Mario takes the power away, once whatever Mario gave the power to Dagon for has been used up and is no longer needed. After Dagon got his head together and comprehended what the fuck just happened, he noticed that the energy around him created a new form of light, which also created the core of the hollow earth, which allows color change if it were to be destroyed by a different entity, which is what allowed Bloodborne to change its color, and what led Draconis thousands of years later to also change its color to a rainbow aesthetic. But Destroyah was still frozen, and where people could free him. So Dagon took his corpse, well, what he thought was a dead corpse frozen in ice, down to Antarctica. Well, not truly Antarctica. He just took it to the Hollow Earth's most southern point. Also known as the Hollow Ice Sheets, or Ice Flats, where he kept them there as a reminder to himself about the horrors of these lands and why he has to protect it, because this is his home, and thousands have poured their lives into him to make sure it was safe. He has to keep his oath to make sure their souls can truly lie in rest. They gave up so much for someone who didn't even know how to rule, who didn't know what to do. So he just did his best to keep the peace, even though it may seem not really that sophisticated to Mario or too chaotic to others. Because that's what kept everyone safe. That's what kept everyone happy. And that's what those trillions, if not billions, of dead Gojiras that poured their souls and power into Dagon that very day would have wanted for this place. And he lies asleep knowing that their sacrifices were not in vain. As for Destroyah and Gigan, however, thousands of years later in the far future, if not billions of trillions of years later, a very, very curious god known as Mario had a funny idea. What if he decided to mess with Dagon just a little by freeing some villains? First it was Bloodborne, soon in future installments of the Wrath of Blood series, it'll be Destroyah too.